My unit, salute! Unreal, Episode 4, Episode 5. Your amplified reviews are about to begin. That's right, a special double review upload. Episode 3's review just went up a few hours ago, and Episode 1 and Episode 2, those reviews, are already up on the channel over the last couple of days. So after this review, this double review, the grand finale, 2-in-1, after this review is up to you guys, you got the whole series. And I've had a lot of fun covering this series. Not because of the show itself. That was far from fun. But covering it for many reasons. And you guys already know if you caught the first 3 reviews. But 4 and 5, this may be the best yet in this whole series. You guys made this a ton of fun. It was fun doing this series, but you guys enjoyed it so much, it made it that much more special. So I thank every single one of you guys, from straight up subscribers to all of my tried and true channel members. Genuinely, I truly mean that, man. Utmost thank you. You guys made this so special, this series. I literally, man, it kind of rejuvenated BC. I had a lot of fun doing this. So even more than Raw and SmackDown, because there's so much that I want to touch on. I try to keep it between half an hour, 45 minutes. So hopefully I did a good enough job in the first 3. I don't know about this one. It's a double upload. This was supposed to be live. As I said in the 3rd review a few hours ago. Due to inclement weather, plans obviously had to change. Storms always affect the feed. And usually BC says, screw it, we're going live anyway. And sure enough, storms and bad weather affect the stream. I'm usually pissed off throughout because the stream is affected. As if I didn't know the storms were there. So this time, I'm trying to be better about it. I want you guys to have a double review that has no technical difficulties. So if it's a pre-record we have to do, that's what we're going to do. No cold open teaser or opening monologue. I'm not going to tease you with anything that was in Episode 4 or Episode 5. There's just not enough time. It's a double review. I'm hoping this doesn't take too long anyway, but there's a lot to go over, and BC has a lot to say. Over 5 pages worth of notes. So yeah, we got to get right into it, man. All apologies, I can't give you guys the, I'm still gonna do it. I was a little too amplified in Episode 1 or Episode 2, I believe. Little too amplified, and I broke some vessels, as you guys can you see? Yeah? Alright, I'm still fine. I'm still amplified. I'll still give you guys the amplified biceps, man. It's what I do. We'll break some more vessels. Why not? All right, let's jump into it. Let me get another swig, and we're going to kick it off with Nick Khan. Oh, he is once again admitting that they needed The Rock, not the other way around. So it's always funny when people don't want to blame Hunter Hearst Helmsley for bad WWE television. They want to blame The Rock. But Nick Khan saying, not so fast. So Nick Khan says, and once again admits, that they needed The Rock to sell out the Elimination Chamber. This is how Episode 4 begins. They needed The Rock to sell out Elimination Chamber. Not the other way around. The Rock was not calling them and being like, can I show up to the chamber just to show up? Hey, can I be in storylines, guys? No. They're calling The Rock to try to sell out the arenas. But I thought business was booming. Isn't that what we were told? Business is booming. Business is booming. But we need The Rock from Hollywood. Interesting. That story already broke right after Elimination Chamber when Nick Khan himself broke it. And Nick Khan admitted he called The Rock. And then The Rock backed it up because The Rock told the story and was like, yeah, I got a call from Nick and everybody. They're like, hey, we could really use you at the chamber. And so here we are on Netflix, and Nick Khan is once again telling the story. Yeah, we didn't think we were going to sell that place out. We called The Rock in. Interesting way to start this episode. Everybody wants to blame The Rock. Hunter Hearst Helmsley can do no wrong. Well, now you know. They're calling The Rock, not the other way around. And the rest of this episode was really preparation for Elimination Chamber and subsequent Elimination Chamber. And they spent 10 minutes on how they created the John Cena heel turn. I'm not joking, man. 10 minutes on how they came up with the masterful idea to have Cena turn heel. I mean, if this was not a massive stroking of the egos, if this wasn't a giant pat on the back, they needed you to know every detail. I mean, they had a bunch of people involved. They had diagrams up. Diagrams of how many people were in the loop and The Rock. You had to have Brian Gerwitz, and you had to have Cody, obviously, but you also had to have Travis Scott, Michael P.S. Hayes, and Bruce Pritchard had to be involved. Whose idea was it? Creative writer 512, or was it dipshit Guggenheimer 616? I mean, they were just making this seem like they were reinventing the wheel, like they were making some magnificent new skyscraper in downtown Manhattan. It's going to be the biggest building ever. It's going to be the most unique structure. You would have thought there was masterminds about to create something that is going to be world changing. And it's just a bunch of nimrods trying to turn a pro wrestler heel. I'm like, bro, you're just turning Cena heel. It's not rocket science. If you guys saw the episode, you know how laughable this was. I mean, I think they truly believe they're doing like God's work or something. I truly feel like that. So, I mean, they're sitting around the boardroom table like they're actually doing something. I could see if they're giving us like epic television and one amazing story after the other. I mean, you have a bunch of individuals around a table for hours coming up with Cena turning heel. Oh, man. And then Helmsley says he called people to tell them, right? Because he wanted to keep it like a secret. So now he's got to make the necessary calls once they decide that Cena's turning heel. Cena obviously has to have that call. The Rock is going to have that call. Cody Rhodes. So Helmsley says he first called The Rock. You might want to call Cena first. He's the one turning heel. But okay, Rock first. Because there's a chain in this. I get it. The Rock is The Rock. He probably would want to know this. And okay, he wants to give the okay. That's fine. The second person that was called was Travis Scott. Then Cody, and then Jonathan Cena. Travis Scott before John Cena. And the reason is because Helmsley said he wanted to make sure that Scott was good with the creative. So a WWE massive storyline, right? This is their big storyline. John Cena's turning heel. It's taking everybody in the company to make this happen. It's this big deal. And it can't happen if Travis Scott is not good with it. Travis Scott. This was in the episode. This is real talk. Helmsley said, I second called Travis Scott. And then John Cena. Awesome. Good to know. Good to know the priorities in Helmsley's world, man. Wow. Then we see Punk, Rollins, Cena, and others going over their Elimination Chamber match. So it's hours before the event. Netflix cameras have them rehearsing everything. They're fully rehearsing everything. Punk is going over every move for their finish. Or right before, I believe that's right before Rollins is eliminated and is about to screw over Punk. Something like that. So Rollins is right in front of him. So Punk's going over everything in rehearsal. And Cena's right there. Seth Rollins is right in front of him. And he's just nodding and yesing everything. Yep, good call. Gotcha, yep. Rollins and Punk rehearsing every move. Punk and Rollins just chilling out, going over their match. Awesome. Honestly. All right, I can't bullshit. Farthest thing from awesome. Maybe a touch of sarcasm in there. Not awesome. Come on. That is one of the best that's one of those feuds that even though you know it ain't that real, brah, you still can actually suspend that disbelief. You can actually enter the realm that there is a lot of animosity there. They're going to be professional. They could even be cordial. But there's that animosity, right? Like, you want to at least believe that because Seth has said those things about Punk when he was gone. Punk has said those things about Rollins. That's how you know they're not the best of friends. And I know you could say, well, BC, they're being cordial. They're going over their match. What do you want them to do? No, but you don't want to see that, man. Punk's going over and then he's just like, and then he does that and Rollins is like, oh, I gotcha. You don't want to see it. It doesn't matter the age range. It doesn't matter how real it still is to you, bro. It doesn't matter if you want to be the cool guy in the room and go, oh, it doesn't matter, man. They're human beings. They're not going to live out their characters 24/7, man. It's just a show. Thank you, cool guy. Yeah, thank you. You're exactly what's helping pro wrestling today, man. Or the reason that it's in the shitter in the year 2025. Because nothing matters, man. It's all just cool. We're all just humans, man. No, I'll gladly go back to the day where everybody protected their character. Gladly. But here we are with Rollins and CM Punk just rehearsing their match, and I just couldn't help but think like Claudio and Eddie Kingston. I don't know if you guys remember that several years ago. And Kingston, even though they're buddies, the way that Kingston amplified himself every time he was talking about Claudio or fighting Claudio, and vice versa, it brought out the best in Claudio. You truly felt like something happened. Like there's some type of animosity because they turn it on every time together or when they're talking about one another. But then you just see that photo that the referee, when he was out to dinner with Kingston and Claudio, and he takes a picture and they're all laughing and smiling over a steak dinner, and they're all together, right in the middle of their feud, mind you. Like even the really good feuds, where even though you know the deal, you still can go, well, maybe I can believe into this a little bit more to elevate my suspense for it. Right? My intrigue for it. But no, they had to go shit on that, and they had to post the photo. I mean, you have to post and get the likes. So in order for Netflix to have a show, we're going to show Rollins and CM Punk going over all their spots. But then when you watch it, we want you guys to switch, like a light switch back over to really getting invested into their feud, right? We want you to really believe that Rollins really can't stand Punk. Forget the fact that they were going over all their match and just nodding and laughing with one another. Forget that. This is the type of shit. There's no need for this. There's none. There's none, man. This whole Unreal, what this is it's a reality show. It's like Cody and Brandy and their show, or Montez and Bianca, or Miz and Maurice, or Total Divas, or Bellas. Half of this is just that, / like documentary, like my name is Rhea Ripley, and I'm a wrestler. You can follow me around. And the other half of this show is just literally exposing everything for no reason. No, there's no purpose. None. Reveal all the tricks, and when the season is done, that shit is left in your dome piece for all of time. I hope they feel like they're getting their money's worth. I hope they feel like this was all worth it in the end, because for the fans, it's more detrimental than beneficial. Unless you're the cool guy, it's okay. It's all right, man. It's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. They're not going to be their character 24/11. It's not a big deal, man. They're just showing you the behind the scenes. Oh my God. Is it really that big of a deal? Everybody's complaining. What's the big deal, man? So they're exposing everything. Who cares, man? Wrestling kayfabe is done, and wrestling's pretty much done anyway. Yeah, that's it. So let's put the fucking final nails in it. Or maybe try to help it. Pro wrestling has to have a little bit of kayfabe surviving. It has to. Pro wrestling has to have the characters protect the characters in the stories more than anything else on earth. There's not a Hollywood production or anything in between that is quite like pro wrestling. You literally have to protect shit in pro wrestling. This show doesn't care. Man, just seeing Rollins, I can do Punk and Cena, I can do Cena and Rollins, good guy and a bad guy, that's fine. It's what it is. Still sucks. I would hate to be a kid growing up in today's pro wrestling and trying to be invested in something and then seeing these shows. I couldn't even imagine being a kid growing up and watching pro wrestling today, man. Wow. But when I saw Rollins and Punk, whoa, I was like, yep, didn't need come on. And then Leveque and The Rock spend 5 minutes planning out exactly how Cena's turn will play out. Another 5 minutes. So this wasn't even ironed out beforehand. Rock just shows up in the arena while H is going over other rehearsals. And he's like, so how do you see this going down? Because I was thinking like maybe we can like, how do you feel about doing X, Y, Z? And Rock's like, I like that. But here's what I say. I say, what if we attack Cody and then we lay him out and then I give him one good whipping, right? And Helmsley's like, yeah, we could do that. That sounds good. This wasn't even ironed out beforehand. And then to the Elimination Chamber match itself, we see Bobby Roode and Jamie Noble calling the match from Gorilla as co-match producers. And we got 15 minutes. 15 minutes on how Helmsley kept it all a secret. Again, this is more stroking of the egos, patting on the back. 15 minutes of how he kept it a secret, had to walk production through every step live. Getting a little carried away, man. You can tell production before the match, so you literally don't have to hold their hand at the very end. Or at the bare minimum, you're head of production. I mean, you have to at least trust and believe in that one individual. But Helmsley wastes his time at the end of this match literally walking production through. Just being Oz. I know something you don't know. That's basically what he's playing. And everyone else is like, whoa, what's going to happen? 15 minutes of how Helmsley kept it a secret. This was hilarious. You would have thought he was creating the Matrix or the Marvel franchise. Disney World or a cure for every disease in the history of ever. A wrestler is turning heel. Thank goodness we got to see every fucking detail of this. And that was the episode. This whole episode revolving around the chamber was just, everybody was supposed to look at Hunter Hearst Helmsley and go, wow, man, what a creative genius. You guys turned Cena heel. And this is everything that went into it, man. Me and The Rock had to have a long conversation. I had to call 6 individuals. We had 12 people actually think of the heel turn. We had to spend the whole match walking everybody through. So it's Cena turning heel. You didn't cure anything. You didn't create an entire world. Like Mr. Disney. You didn't create the franchise like Marvel. You didn't even create WWE. Your father-in-law, who you try to be, who you try to emulate, you don't want to do the work, nor do you have the mindset to even do anything creative. He created this world that you get to now play in and rip back the curtain. This whole thing was a stroke fest, episode 4. And at the end of it, I was just like, wow, we needed a full hour to document a simple decision. Hey, Cena, how do you feel about turning heel? Bruce Pritchard came up with the idea, by the way. We found that out in episode 4. I still think that there was talks with Cena in the past, but now they really went with it. And that's why, with Bruce Pritchard really thinking of it, that's what leads me to believe that him and Cena have had talks in the past. But Bruce Pritchard just comes up with the idea out of the 100 people involved. And Helmsley, I guess, tells Cena, that's it. This episode could have been 30 seconds. All right, so now we got through the BS episode, right? We want to get to some good stuff, man. Some stuff we can really lay into. Episode 4 was like the jobber of the series, I felt. Even the all-women's episode with, what was that? Episode 3 that went up just a few hours ago from the time you guys are seeing this. Even that one like had some substance. Something you can talk about even if we're ripping it apart. Episode 4 didn't really have a lot. You just kind of make fun of how stupid everybody looked, trying to give themselves pats on the back for a very simplistic decision. But episode 5, we start with a writer's meeting where Bruce Pritchard says we have to protect Jey Uso. This is a quote. So all the writers, and it's like a Zoom too. So you have all these little boxes. All the writers are on like this big Zoom call, and Bruce Pritchard is literally saying, and I quote, "We have to protect Jey. People are starting to see that he's blowing up." We then cut to Helmsley, who says, "You can see it. He clearly missed that dive on Monday." Remember the dive over the top rope, almost landed on his dome piece? What in the world? That's for everybody that wants to say, "Oh, we're too harsh. Our critiques are too harsh. We're too negative." Or are we just being truthful? I always ask that, and it's rhetorical. We are truthful. I won't BS my audience. I won't sugarcoat anything. We, the unit, have been saying that from day one. Have we not? If anybody's giving a pat on the back, it's the unit right now. Because everything we said in those reviews, they were saying backstage simultaneously. If you ever wondered how real, how truthful this channel is, how truthful BC is, and how smart all of you are, there you go. Because they're saying the same thing backstage. We're just the only one dropping the truthful reviews like we do. Everybody else just wants to candy coat it. Everybody else wants to tell you how awesome everything is. Jey was the right decision. He's just fine. He's not blowing up. What are you talking about? We called this from the jump. We've been saying since he got that title that he's blown up after his dancing. Forget the promos. We've been saying that his skills have diminished since he went to a singles competitor. He can't even make it over the top rope anymore. He's got to go through the middle. Even that's becoming a chore. His only moves he rips off from everybody. Choke from Gunther, spear from Roman, and who knows what else. Oh, he's doing the Rock and the Dusty Rhodes now when he does the elbow or the punch. The whole dance routine before he delivers it. Everything's jacked. And they said it. Bro, they said it. Everything that we've been saying, they finally admit it. Bruce Pritchard says we have to protect Jey. People are starting to see that he's blowing up. Those people were the amplified unit. And Helmsley says you can see it. The way that he missed that dive, that wasn't just a miscalculation. Dude's gassed out. We've been saying that. We're who they're talking about. They don't like it because we're dropping the truth. They would love for that to be hidden. And then, you want to talk about being gassed out. This was wild. We then see a clip of Jey talking to Helmsley at gorilla position. And H says, "Are you all right?" This might have been right after the dive. Who knows? But H says, "Are you all right?" And Jey responds, "Yeah, I gassed out." He just fully admitted, "I gassed out. I had nothing in the tank." The dude just told you he's going to put the whole rocket on you. I mean, you got to respect the honesty. Because even if he tried the bullshit, H, I mean, we all saw what's going on. But could you imagine, he just gave you the whole rocket, he told you. "I'm not going to go Punk or Cena in this position. I'm not going to go LA Knight or anybody. I'm going to go Jey Uso. I'm going to put the rocket on you." In one of your first performances, you tell the dude, "Yeah, I just gassed out. My bad." He gassed out. That was a quote. "I gassed out." Everything we've been saying on this channel has been spot on. And we take the flack. "Oh, we're so harsh. We're such a negative review channel. We're always just ripping everything. We don't like the shows." No, we want to like them. We want to love these shows because we love pro wrestling. But bro, you just chose a guy to win the Rumble out of nowhere. Put a whole rocket on him. And as much as we like Jey, he sucks right now. That's one half of my favorite tag team, the Usos. It pains me to say that. As a singles competitor in this position, as a main eventer, he sucks. That's a problem. I'm reviewing the show. It's what I do. My audience is coming here for the most truthful review show. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. The guy they chose, the guy they're putting the whole rocket on, is fucking blowing up and gassed out. He's telling you that. The whole company is seeing that and talking about it behind the scenes. And BC's the only channel, the balls to talk about it. Because I truly want to see pro wrestling be great again. It ain't gonna be that way if we're just listening to all the bullshit and all the bullshit noise out there. Much respect to the Salcedos and the Simons and all of them. Honestly, I mean that. Much respect. Do your thing. Get your money and your views and your clicks. Do what you got to do. But I can't respect the bullshit. I can't respect glazing all of these shows and these performances when it's clearly not good. And the company is telling you that. Behind the scenes, that's what they're talking about. And meanwhile, everyone else, the fans are going, well, it's amazing. I can't respect giving 12 or 14 ups and only 4 or 5 downs when everything's a shitfest. We have to start being more honest. If you truly love pro wrestling, be honest, brah. Because now you look like a fool. Because this show came out and they just told you what they're talking about. They're agreeing with everything that BC and the Amplified unit has already stated for months. The company agreed with BC and the unit. Yeah, I take great pride in knowing that we are the most truthful review show in this community. And we will keep rocking on. We'll put the rocket on ourselves. He goes up to H. He says, I'm gassed out. I'm glad they put that in there, man. Be honest with it. You know, we see P.S. Hayes and Pritchard and Helmsley admitting the very next clip. Pritchard, Helmsley, and P.S. Hayes, they're admitting that the pressure is getting to Jey Uso and that they may have to go another direction. Could you imagine that? That was the very next clip. We may have to go another direction. Helmsley literally told them, like, we may have to tell him, like, you know, if you don't pick it up, we're going to have to put the brakes on this. And let's be honest, he never actually did. The creative didn't do him any favors leading to Mania, but it cooled off tremendously. The segment that they did with his brother and Gunther while Jey was handcuffed, that was the thing that saved Jey Uso, I honestly believe. But even after that, they realized this was the wrong decision. But I think they thought it was too far at that point, and they just went with Jey anyway. But if you look at the landscape today, you see that they knew immediately they made the wrong choice. They went with it. And look at the landscape today. Jey Uso was once again the side chick to Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And the title match is what it should have been at WrestleMania. CM Punk versus Gunther. Gunther is the current champion. CM Punk getting the title. If you guys saw episode 1 or episode 2, I believe, that review of this show, Unreal, you guys see the board that they were looking at. They already had it markered up, Gunther versus CM Punk. They went around the table. Everybody said, yes, Punk. And Helmsley changed it to Jey Uso. So this is like this is rectifying the massive wrong from WrestleMania. SummerSlam is basically everything you were supposed to get at Mania. Everything on that board from Cena and Cody, again, but that was on the board. Seth Rollins versus Roman was the original plan. Seth got injured now, obviously. But that was penciled for Mania, and Punk was supposed to take on Gunther. So when Jey all of a sudden won the Rumble out of nowhere, Punk has to get thrown into the Roman-Seth Rollins match, making it a stupid-ass triple threat for no reason, no purpose, nothing on the line but Paul Heyman's services. At least put Paul Heyman on a pole then, make it somewhat interesting. We called it from the jump, man. And here they are in the very next clip saying that we may have to go another direction. All the flack we take, right? Oh, so negative, you're so harsh. Just enjoy the wrestling. Bro, we are a review show. And this just gives you a glimpse of how accurate we are. Damn, did we nail it. Damn, you mean to tell me that putting the rocket on Jason Uso because of a stupid word ended up being a stupid idea? Nah, who could have called that? We then go to Charlotte Flair and Tiffany's wild promo ahead of their WrestleMania match. This was on SmackDown when it kind of went off the rails. And P.S. Hayes admits that Charles stepped on Tiffany's promo. What that means is it was... And I don't even mean to at this point, giving some pats on the back, but bruh. I mean, I literally called it in that review, that SmackDown's review. I said, this is where Charlie invaded in on Tiffany's promo. Tiffany, and when you can't do that because what you're doing now is you're throwing them off their game. You're throwing them off kilter. You can never step on a promo. It's not just about you. You got to think about them, and there's a flow to it. So when Tiffany started to rock off, and Tiffany was already struggling a little bit in that one, if you guys remember, the last thing she needed was Charlie to really throw her in that water without any paddle, without any life preserver. And that's what Charlie did. It's called stepping on a promo. And we talked about it in that review, man. Accurate to a T. And sure enough, Hayes is backstage and he's saying the same thing in real time. Charlotte just stepped on Tiffany's promo. And you literally see Pritchard and Helmsley. They're upset. Like Pritchard throws his hands up like, what is Charlotte doing? But that's what and to Charlotte's credit, but it's not a good thing because she's done this for over 10 years. When the crowd starts to boo her, because this is what they do. They try to force her as a face, and especially after a hiatus. And then she comes back and everyone loves to see her for a minute. But then they're like, oh, it's just Charlotte. So when they boo and she's supposed to be a face, she gets thrown off. And she starts to instantly go heel mode. That's why I always say Charlotte has turned face and heel more than anybody in the business. More than Big Show, more than Kane, easily. And so Charlotte said that when the crowd started to boo, she was thrown off. She got off her game. But that doesn't mean that as you're about to fall off that cliff, you take Tiffany with you. If you're about to go under that water, you don't take Tiffany with you. And Tiffany got pissed off. And that's when Tiffany came up with the 0-3 divorce line, right? Let's talk about the stats. You're 0-3, and she points to the ring finger, right? You're 0-3, divorced, basically. You're 0-3 in that department, and that just set Charlotte started to walk toward Tiffany like she was going to whoop her. And Tiffany knew that, so Tiffany got out of the ring real quick. Backstage, Helmsley's like, which part of that went off script? And Tiffany was very honest with her writer. Her and her writer were very honest. They're like the last part when I said that about the 0-3. And that's when live Charlotte came up with the something about Kaiser being in her DMs, which Kaiser is with Tiffany Stratton. So that was huge. But Tiffany didn't seem that bothered by that. And backstage, we come to find out Helmsley is told that Charlie is pissed off backstage. So Helmsley, while he's at Gorilla, Helmsley tells this person who told him that, I didn't see exactly who it was, but Helmsley says, have Tiffany apologize to Charlotte. And that's where it ended. We didn't see the apology or anything. That's how pissed off Charlotte was. But the DM Kaiser line seemed a little bit more brutal, I feel. But maybe the wound of that divorce was still so fresh and it was too much for Charlie. I don't know. But listen, Charlie stepped on Tiffany's promo first. Tiffany hit back hard. If Charlie's going to get all up in her feels for that, then you have to start at the beginning. What caused all of this? It was stepping on Tiffany's promo. She was making fun of her voice and squeaking. Oh, I can't hear you. You're I hear too much squeaking. Right? Because, Tiffany's got that tone. So Charlotte was throwing low blows and literally cutting off her part of the promo. Like not letting her. She's already having a hard enough time. And now Charlie is not working with her. So, yeah, man, if you take a punch back, at least don't cry about it and tell this person to tell Helmsley, and now Tiffany's got to apologize. Anyway, that was it just brought us back to that SmackDown moment. That was wild. And that was the only thing that got us somewhat into Tiffany versus Charlie, because before that, ain't nobody needed to see that. And then we go to the writer's room, 12 people trying to decide the winner of Punk, Rollins, and Roman for Mania. No direction, no logic, no purpose. It's like they finally figured out this match was a dumb fucking idea. That's all this segment was. 12 people around a table finally realizing this sucks. I think Punk should win. Oh, I think Roman. Well, yeah, but maybe Rollins should win because then Roman's like hung out to dry. I mean, what does he have if he loses this? But he's like, yeah, Punk is so predictable. What if Heyman goes with Rollins? And yeah, but then what would happen with I truly believe that there was a moment where they all were just like, this is a main event of Mania. 3 dudes randomly facing each other. I understand Punk and Rollins have a feud, but Rollins and Roman, their feud was years ago. That's over. We've seen it 112 times. Punk and Roman have no feud. The only reason they had beef, what they manufactured, if you guys remember, is because Punk threw Roman over the top rope at the Royal Rumble. You know, the thing you're supposed to do in the Royal Rumble. And because of that, you got to see this at WrestleMania now. And then, while everyone is rehearsing, we had a funny moment where Punk, so everyone's around the ring just rehearsing everything, and Punk is on the outside with Adam Pearce and Otis, and they're talking about like shitting their pants while in a match. Charlie's in the ring with TJ going over her match for that night or whatever. So Punk says, Charlotte. She's like, yeah. And Punk's like, have you ever shit yourself in a match? Charlotte's taken back. Like, what? Did I hear that correctly, basically? What? CM Punk's like, did you ever shit yourself in a match? Charlotte again is like, what? I think there was like 3 what? Charlotte was taken back by that conversation. And it was just, I will say this. This was the most authentic I've ever seen Charlotte Flair, Ashley. I mean, she was like laughing and really like getting into the conversation, and there was an innocence to it, and where the guard is down, and you don't see that with Charlotte Flair. I would have to ask, where is more of that on TV? Maybe more Ashley and less Charlie. And this is coming from a character guy. I love characters. I don't want to just see wrestler X, Y, or Z with the volume turned up to a 4 or a 5. It better be turned up to a 10 if your character is just an extension of yourself. Because if Steve Williams doesn't have that Stone Cold Steve Austin in him, I don't want to see it. Otherwise, you're going to have to be a character, man. Right? Mark Calloway is going to have to become The Undertaker. You're going to have to become a character. But I think in this instance, it's been 10 years and there's no connection with the fans to Charlie. They're trying to manufacture it now by putting Charlie with Alexa. I've said that a billion times. But that's manufacturing it every which way and everything just fails. So maybe the answer is right in front of them. The person they love backstage. Maybe put her on TV more. Ashley Flair. Call her Charlotte, obviously. You already got all the money in that name. But why can't Charlotte be more Ashley-esque and drop the act of being so robotic and this guard is always up? And you're always forcing her to be the queen and we have to look at her as the queen. This was a much more adorable side, man. This one, and I know, but BC, what do you want? An adorable women's champion? No, but there has to be something more. For over 10 years, all I can tell you about Charlotte's character is she calls herself a queen and she just is constantly pissed at the world. Mean mugging and just robotic. And then you see her there and it's like, whoa, there's personality. Whoa, there's like some charm, maybe even some charisma. So now it's their job to tap into that. How can we get a little bit more Ashley into Charlotte? What a concept. You know, it's funny. I put this in my notes too. I'm glad I did. WWE put the pressure on Ashley Flair, not the name Flair. And what I mean by that is everybody just uses the excuse, oh, because her father is Ric Flair, man, that's why the pressure is looms so large, and that's why she can't truly get over, because the expectations are so high. No. The Flair name didn't put pressure on her. What put pressure on Ashley Flair is the company constantly, from day one, pushing her as the best wrestler in the world. Stephanie McMahon just said it in episode 3. We talked about it. It's not a man thing. It's not a woman thing. Charlotte's just the best. No, that's not how you want to push somebody from day one, man. The queen, the best, the booking from day one through the moon. Maybe the company placed that pressure on Ashley. Interesting. We then see Jey Uso win the title at WrestleMania. Backstage, Jey says, and I quote, "I want to ride this till the wheels fall off." To which BC was thinking, Jey, they already did fall off, bro. Way before WrestleMania, the wheels were falling off. Little did Jey know that his title reign would be within about 2 months, and he'd be right back to being Roman's side chick. But don't worry, you'll still get your entrance, and all the kids will yeet, and they'll invite you to their birthday parties at Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, man. Next, we cut to Tiffany beating Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Backstage, this was funny. Pritchard is trying to tell... This was just hilarious, man. Pritchard is trying to tell Helmsley 8 different times that Tiffany chipped her tooth or broke her tooth, lost a tooth. He said it in so many different ways. Broke her teeth. Many different ways. And Helmsley's like, huh? What? He's already going... I mean, he probably can't hear a damn thing. He's got his bifocal glasses on. So at the very end of the match, man, Tiffany wins. And Pritchard once more looks over at Helmsley. He's like, she broke her teeth. And Helmsley's like, huh? What? Who? Who? Charlotte? Tiffany? Her teeth? Oh. It's like the old grandpa, all right? You go to Thanksgiving dinner and you're trying to say, hi, Grandpa. Huh? What? Yeah, beer. I love you, Grandpa. Yeah, fuck off. What? You don't... It's like... it was actually funny. Pritchard is trying to tell this guy, I think her tooth is gone. And Helmsley's like, huh? Spare ribs. It was... You had to have seen it. It was really funny. So when Tiffany comes back through the curtain, Tiffany comes back and Helmsley meets her after one of those weird embraces with Charlie. Just those weird hold hugs, which we've talked about in great length. Oh boy. And we're about to talk about it again in a second, by the way. A couple minutes. Because it got even worse with Rhea Ripley. But then he goes over to Tiffany and he's like, how's your tooth? Because it's loud. So he's like, how's your tooth? And Tiffany's like, huh? I honestly don't know where I hit it. And he's like, no, how did you lose it? He's like, huh? Did you lose the tooth? And she's like, oh, yeah. And Helmsley's like, oh, no. What, was it a real one? And Tiffany goes, no, it was fake. We all have fake teeth here. It was hilarious. She goes, no, we all have fake teeth here. Don't worry. So she got a fake tooth knocked out. And then she just threw all the ladies under the bus. She's like, yeah, no, we all have fake teeth here. Now, at first you want to say it's because, just hard hits and they lost their teeth through punches or whatever. But I think a lot of these females actually get fake teeth for the business. Because a lot of their teeth is probably like, abnormalities or whatnot, not as white as they would like maybe. So it's much easier to just get the implanted teeth for a lot of these celebrities. You'd be amazed. So I guess that's why a lot of them get fake teeth. But yeah, that is a true story, man. A lot of the wrestlers that you guys see, especially the ladies, they have actual fake teeth. How wild is that? So it was just funny for Helmsley to learn that. He's like, was that a real tooth? She's like, no, it's fake. We all have fake teeth here. It was great, man. Where do we go from there? And then an epic moment, man. This was for the CM Punk matchup, the triple threat stupid match. But this was epic because Helmsley is trying to give CM Punk a Papa H speech, right? As if CM Punk of all... And he's looking at him and he's like, you earned this. You are main event material. Don't you ever let anyone tell you different. You are a main eventer. And Punk says, and I quote, I know. Like he's like, I know. It's just, I'm glad that you now know that. Guys, it was great. You could see like a hiccup of a moment where Helmsley was like, yes, you go get him. Yeah. It was awesome. He's trying to tell him, you are a main eventer. Like I'm instilling this confidence in you. And Punk's the last person you have to do that, man. So Punk is like, I know. I'm just glad that you now know that. Come on, bro. You can't make that up. That was great. I know, you idiot. Shut up. Let me go wrestle. Up next, we have, let me get a swing, because this is great. Well, not in a good way great, but great for us because we get to talk about it. So, Io, Sky, Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley. We see their footage for their WrestleMania matchup. Io is now backstage after the W. Helmsley is embracing Io and giving his papa speech. We were just talking about it, right? He loves to do it for the females because he really goes in, long hugs, talks in their ears. So he has Io in this embrace. And, you know, the whole spiel with Io. You were born to do this. I knew you were main event material. You were born to do this, yada, yada. Words of encouragement are great. Trust me, I got you. But these are grown adults. Do you gotta talk to them like children? Could you imagine if Phil Jackson pulled Michael Jordan into a 3-minute embrace every championship while telling Jordan he's a champion? You've earned this. You're good enough. Don't you ever doubt yourself, Michael? After every championship, Phil Jackson just embraces him for 3 minutes, looks at him, whispers in his ear, you got this. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're not a champion. Could you imagine Michael Jordan would push this guy away? And no sport and no entity do you see this type of buffoonery where everybody has to be talked to like a child. It's probably, I mean, Io was probably like, ain't nobody doubting shit, bro. Just get off me. But in Japanese. That's probably what she's thinking. Nobody's doubting get off me. But they gotta be kind and smile because it's the boss. And then another bizarre hold hug immediately after. Rhea comes through the curtain. And you guys know the Rhea shit's weird. More than even Charlotte. And he really gets up on Charlotte with those hugs and talking in her ear and whispering those sweet nothings. But with Rhea, I truly believe there is that Rhea fetish, right? Kind of like he likes the China and he sees a little bit of that. That's obviously like a type for Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And there's something with Rhea. He just loves like holding her. And like this one was, we talked about this. Was it episode 1 or episode 2? I forgot which review it was of this show, but I had to put it in the notes because it was that awkward. And you see Rhea like look at the camera like this is going on for a long time. Can I just like get out of this embrace and like you can give me all these words of encouragement by looking at me like a human being, like an adult. And not like I'm your child. And Rhea, there was a moment, it was so long that Rhea gave that look. I don't even know if she knew the camera was there, but it was. Thank you, Netflix. So Rhea comes through. H is right there. I mean, at this point, man, if I'm Rhea, I'm like trying to find like another way to get like around Gorilla and get to my locker room. I really would, man. And I'll just play it off like it was a rib. You guys never saw me come back. But every time Rhea's got to come through, she's got to know Helmsley's going to be right there for a 5-minute hug. Guys, multiple minutes. He's just like holding her every way, like every type of a hug. And then he does the whispering in the ear like 3 different times. And he's holding the back of her. And then he like does this thing where he like cusps her head to like, only they can hear what they're talking about. But I mean, you're mic'd up anyway. But why do you have to do, I know it's loud in there, but what do you, dude, you're cupping this woman. Who talks like, could you imagine any business doing that? It's wild. I couldn't imagine Phil Jackson taking Michael Jordan, like cuffing his head and whispering in his ear while he's like blocking the cameras. What is happening, I'm thinking? And then he just holds her a different way and then lower and then higher. And it's like, whoa, somebody's got to tell Buddy Murphy on this. Buddy Matthews Murphy. Mr. Ripley. It was so awkward, man. It is so bizarre. No profession have I ever seen this ever. This human resources has to just say, dude, I mean this wholeheartedly. Because this will end up being an issue, guys. I'm telling you, that's how it starts. Human resources and relations have to get involved, and they just have to tell Helmsley, listen, we think it's great that you give words of encouragement. That's cool. You take it a little overboard, but that's cool. You might have to do it, though, with like a little bit of a handshake, a little quick hug, like a tap hug for the ladies especially, and then give them that encouragement just like eye to eye. Is that okay? Because we need a little bit less like embracing and damn near, if not cuddling. I mean, that's almost what it's getting to. Check out the Rhea Ripley thing in episode 5. That's your boss, bro. It starts like that. Next thing you know, you're at a Coldplay concert on the Jumbotron. Cena then beats Cody. WrestleMania. Cena talks afterwards and says, and I quote, "It was genuine disappointment from the crowd," which is something we strive for. Yeah, Cena. Disappointment because the finish sucked. Travis Scott? WrestleMania main event. And Travis Scott was your big surprise. And this is where everybody likes to blame just The Rock. Absolutely, I agree. Rock had to be there. But let's not forget, A, they were calling The Rock. B, The Rock told them months in advance. They had weeks to come up with a creative finish. They had weeks at the Elimination Chamber. They for sure knew. That's documented. And the best you had for weeks was Travis Scott. You want to blame Rock? That's fine. I agree he should have and had to be there if you were going to start something, even though they called you at Elimination Chamber. But I really hope that you're also then not just blaming H as well, but even more so because it's still his company. He's the head of talent and creative and content. And he knew for a long time Rock wasn't going to be there. And he gave you Travis Scott. And when everybody booed afterwards, especially at that comedy appearance that H went to afterwards with fans that just came from WrestleMania and they were booing. Remember what H told them? The people that paid thousands of dollars and were not happy with Hunter Helmsley. He looked at them and he said, "Oh, fuck off if you didn't like it." Yeah, Cena. It was genuine disappointment, but not for the right reasons, because it sucked. And then the show ends. The series ends. Unreal Season 1. With Helmsley getting into an SUV and basically narrating his own show. Because this whole thing is just a stroke fest for Hunter Helmsley. You guys know that. That's all this is. The man behind the curtain. He is the great Oz. And the show just ends with him narrating. You know, people don't get to see everything that goes on into the business. And what people don't understand is just because WrestleMania is over doesn't mean the show's over. And moments later, I get handed a packet of papers and it's the Raw script. And it's on to the next town and it never ends. And it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's like, whoa, we never get a break. And on the other hand, thank goodness, the show keeps going on. And the SUV dramatically rides off with Helmsley kind of like smirking. Helmsley. It's funny. I go back to, I think it was episode 1, right? The beginning of this whole series. Episode 1, very first segment, I believe, where Jerry Lawler, you can hear a clip of Jerry Lawler screaming, "It's all about Triple H." Oh, how true those words are. And that is Unreal Season 1, the official series review. Episode 1 and Episode 2 and Episode 3 all up on the channel already. And this was your big double upload grand finale. I thank you guys very much, man. If you were following along this whole series, thank you. It looks like you guys really enjoyed this series. Trust me when I say this. I know I said this at the jump of this review. I had so much fun covering this series. I don't know why. I knew that there's going to be a lot of validation. I think that's a part of it. and we went over just some of it. A lot of validation as we called this in real time, the amplified unit, not just BC, because you guys were right there in the comments going, yup, BC, I saw this. BC, I agree because of X, Y, and Z. You guys were seeing it. And it was like we were reviewing this together, man, because we were seeing all the wrong and what needed to be corrected for a good WrestleMania. And I knew that it was all going to come out in the wash. I knew that when this show went on the air, I knew that we were going to be validated in everything we were saying all along. From Tiffany and Charlie to Jason Uso winning the Rumble and going to WrestleMania. And guess what? We were. So I just got to sit back, drink some coffee, and shoot the shit with my amplified unit, man. But for now, that is a wrap on the Unreal Amplified Review Series. Until next time, and there will be that next time. BC in the unit saying check you. Salud.